Well, I'm told we're on, and it sounds like I'm on. I want to wish all of you who are here and all of you who are here in other ways, whether it's on Zoom or the other platforms, a Shabbat Shalom, as we're coming together to share Havdalah together, and then this very different kind of Selihot. We were unable to gather last year, and we're trying to do it this year, and we thank all of you who are sharing and changing the mantles to our Sifrei Torah. And so as we're about to embark on these days leading to Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, I want to do one of my favorite things, and I'm going to need your help. So who can tell me what this is? Was that you, Sam? Isaac, one of you? No? So what is this?
It's a shofar.
It sure is a shofar, right? So do you play an instrument? Anybody else in your family play an instrument?
Leo does. Oh yeah, he plays piano.
Plays piano. So as I remember a piano, like the one that's up there, the keyboard, right? You've got keys that you push to get a sound out of, right? Yeah. Any keys on here?
No.
Absolutely not. Who else plays an instrument?
I play clarinet.
You play a clarinet, Isaac, huh? So as I remember a clarinet, right? You've got first a mouthpiece of some kind, right? There's nothing here, and you got a bunch of buttons on a clarinet, correct?
Yeah.
See any buttons? Nope. Who else plays something? Adults can answer too. Eli, what do you play?
Piano.
Okay, so both of you play piano, right? Helps having, there's also pedals on a piano too. Do you play a regular piano, or do you have an electric keyboard?
Regular piano.
Regular electric?
Regular.
Okay. This one up here, of course, is an electric keyboard, right? And the only way it's really going to make sound is if it's turned on, but it only makes sound if it's also plugged in, right? Anybody here have an electric shofar? No. No plug, nothing to plug this into. Anybody? Any adults play instruments? Gary.
Some wind instruments, but I can barely get a sound out of it.
It's a little harder with a mask on, too. But they have various ways, with buttons and sometimes some kind like a trombone, which is a wind instrument too, right? Or even sometimes just some holes that you put your fingers over, okay? Anybody else? No one plays any percussion? No one plays any string instruments? So if this were a violin, right? If this were a violin, I'd be holding it like this kind of, right? With a bow in this hand, and I'd be playing the bow on 4 different strings, right? Any strings on this? No strings. And if this were percussion, lots of percussion instruments, whether they're a xylophone or a triangle or drums, how do you get a sound off of those? You have to have a stick of some kind. That's why they're called drumsticks, right? There is nothing on here except one hole at one end and one at the other. So how do I get some kind of a sound off of this? I just blow it, huh? The reality is if I just tried to blow into here, nothing would come out. I got to make a sound in this end before a sound comes out of this end. So there's a lesson to that in this shofar over these days now leading to Rosh Hashanah, and then from Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur. Shofar doesn't work unless you put a sound into it. And the days don't work unless you open up your mouth and you say something. Like, Eli, do you ever pick on your sisters at all?
A little bit.
A little bit. Are there things that you should say I'm sorry to them for? Think real hard.
They're not really bad, but they're
Are there things that they should apologize to you for?
yes.
I figured that much. Okay. So open up your mouths to all the people who are important to you. Go to them and say, I'm sorry. That's how these days work, just like the shofar. You have to put something into it to get something out. You can't plug it in. You can't use any sticks. It all has to come from your mouth. And so as this Shabbat ends, we want to say farewell lovingly and longingly. And we do that, of course, with Havdalah. And so we're going to be just like God when God began to create the world. The first thing God created was, you all know, light. And we do the same.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen borei peri hagafen Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei minei v'samim borei minei v'samim ya 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 la 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 ya la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la la ya 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 la 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 ya la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la la ya la la Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei meorei ha'esh borei meorei ha'esh Yalai yala la 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 Yalai yala la 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 Yala la 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 Yala la yala la Ya ya yala la 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 Yala yala la 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 Yala la 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 yala Yala la yala la Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavdil ben kodesh lechol hamavdil ben kodesh lechol ya 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 la 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 ya la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la la ya la ya la 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 ya la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la la ya la la ya la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la la ya la la ya la ya la 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 ya la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la la ya la la Eliyahu Hanavi Eliyahu Hati Mashiach ben David, im Mashiach ben David, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi, Amavdi, Ben Kodesh Lechol, Chatoteinu Yimcho, Zareinu v'chasbenu, Yarbekecho, V'hakochavim b'alayla, Shavuato, 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 a good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. A good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase.
Shavua Tov to everyone.
Shavua Tov.
And we will make it shortly a little brighter here in the sanctuary, too. Again, these last couple of years, we've changed Selihot a bit. And we wanted in some way to involve some of our kids in changing the mantles this year. So we've made, of course, changing the mantles earlier. We're doing it right after Havdalah. And thanks to Norm and the cantor, we've got some family groups who will be sharing the changing of the scrolls together. We already took them out of the ark, and they're placed around the sanctuary. We're not sure yet how we're going to share this with those of you who are on our various other platforms looking in, but hope you'll be able to see as we change the mantles. And so before we do, we want to begin with a special poem, which if those of you who are here would like to follow along in Mishkan Halev, you'll find this poem by Lisa Rautwager on page 121. In a moment, we will rise to honor them, our elders from whom we have learned stories and lessons, with whom we have studied and worshiped and celebrated the passages of life and time. Our elders who have taught us goodness, honesty, and the sanctity of life, whose mantles are woven with threads of memory, embroidered with silver and gold, majestic folds of silk and velvet and royal hues befitting their rank as brilliant as the sun. We now rise to honor them together as they put aside their everyday mantles of splendor and don their sacred garments, the vestments of purity and holiness, befitting the days of awe so soon approaching. As we ask you to go to wherever the cantor has stationed you as we begin the changing of the mantles on our Sifrei Torah.
Yerachema abanim, Recham Adonai al Yeream, Ki chigva shamayim al haaretz, Davar chasdo al Yeream, Yerachema al banim, השמיים על הארץ, גבר חסדו על יראיו. Yai dai dai da, yai la la la, yai 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 la, yai la, yai la, yai la la, yai la la. Ya la la la, ya 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 la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la la. Ya la la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la, ya la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la. Ya la la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la la. Ya da da da, ya da ya. Ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la, ya la, ya la, ya la la, ya Rachema al bani, Recham Adonai al Yereah, Kichigva Shamayim haaretz, gavar chasdo al yereah, kerachema al banim, recham Adonai al yereah, kichigvo השמיים על הארץ, גבר חסדו על יראיו. יאללה, 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 Rachema al banim, Recham Adonai al yereah, כי גבר שמיים על הארץ, גבר חסדו על יראיו. יאללה, 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 יאללה,
The holy season has now begun, and the elders in the yontif clothes stand proud and tall before us, beacons of wisdom and light, reminders of the holiness we seek on this new day of Elul. And remember, on these last days of Elul, use your mouths. Put something into those apologies. Seek forgiveness. Grant forgiveness. Shavua Tov.
Shavua Tov.
So the evening is going to continue as follows. We're going to be breaking here. Ooh, it's much earlier than I thought. We're going to be breaking here because some people are going to be taking kids home. Those of you who are with us on the other platforms are welcome to stick around or come back. We'll be gathering again at 9 o'clock for our study session. And you're welcome to stay. Susan has prepared a little activity for us. And I think the weather is cooperating at this point. We'll find out, right? And then we'll have our service at 10 o'clock. So again, those of you on all the other platforms, we hope you'll join us. Those of you who are taking kinder home, drive safely. And we'll see you a little later. Shavua Tov.
Shavua Tov.
And some food to eat. Hopefully the drinks are a little better than the standard wine we offer you on Shabbos. I don't think it's Mogen David or Manischewitz. And we have some cheeses and some other goodies, which we're going to be being set up outside. And we hope you'll partake.
Do you want me to announce the other part as well?
Sure.
For those of you interested who are staying, as opposed to those of you taking children home, there are flashlights over here. If you are interested and if you have appropriate shoes, there is, and I say this very respectfully, if you don't want to do this, I totally understand, because who expected this rain that was not in the forecast today? And I set it up when there was no rain expected in the forecast today. I have set up a walk around the pond on the outer side, the far side of the pond. So if anyone wants to do that, it's called Walking Your Why. And there are signs along the way for people to walk individually, to think, and it's a self-directed walk. So there are flashlights. You can even take your wine and whatever with you. Remember, you can eat outside and just enjoy and think about everything. And so feel free to grab the flashlights and do that outside if you would like. But my feelings would not be hurt at all, because it could be a little bit muddy and slippery because of all the rain tonight. So I understand if you don't, and if you want to, it really is a wonderful walk. So there you go. It is safe. I did walk it several times today. So enjoy if you want.
It'll go off. So then just do that to protect it, and I can control it from here. Okay? So. table.
You want to put them in Andrew's office?
No, actually, we're gonna put them, we can put them in the conference room, there's a table.
Okay.
Andrew, wherefore art thou? Up here. Up here where? Upstairs? Oh, cool. So Susan had a question. Can she try and share from her computer, but it might block out what you just did, and then will you just reshare what you had? When she's done. You'll put that back, right? Yeah, so Susan, why don't you, if you go and share and says you want to share, someone else is sharing, you can kick him out, and then he can just put that back when you're done. Hi, Michael. Can you please come and take these tables and put them in the conference room? So you're good, you're good sharing? All right, Andrew, can you put that message back up for if anybody joins? What happened? Can you please share the screen that was on there before? What's that?
Andrew, if you can put the other screen back on? Andrew, Bob? Bob, Andrew? If you can put this, see you at 9? Thank you.
Good? Yeah, now open it up. You see the white man filter here.
Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah. Are you gonna use them to study tonight?
No, but we will be opening our the service.
Oh, there's one more service?
Yeah, the service is 10 to 11. Remember? That's why I
Oh.
thought, since we have the service, maybe it's better to have like these tables off. You know,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we have the service. Especially these ones.
Yeah.
And the chairs, you know.
Okay.
Because
Doesn't
the
feel hot.
cameras will come, you know, show. It's better. We don't need to show that.
Doesn't feel hot in here, huh? Doesn't feel hot?
Oh, I from this mask on. so
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I put the air,
Oh, good.
yeah, I put 20%. I couldn't bring more up because the air intake cannot cool it down as fast because it's kind of hot outside. But it's running 30% to the max.
Nice.
Yeah.
service coming up. Absolutely. You know where I learned? And my grandmother, Anna Argan, she used to make it. So I always think of her right at this moment when I'm doing this. I know. Because she would like, something like this.
Because when I saw that the breastplates weren't completely level and straight and square, and the stuff wasn't just perfect, I thought, no, David is never going to allow that.
But, it should look nice, shouldn't
It
it?
should be perfect. The presentation should be perfect.
Right.
It's God's palace, absolutely.
Make it look good. So,
You bet. It's beautiful, and it's something to be extremely proud of.
yeah,
I have a question.
sure.
I know that we're the greeters tonight.
Okay.
The service at 10 o'clock,
Yeah.
will they be using the same book again?
Yeah, we'll be using that book. And without any inserts, as far as I know.
Okay. The thing is that Nadine is not feeling that great.
Oh. I mean, truthfully, I don't think we're gonna get that many people.
Okay. Do you think people would pick up their own book?
We could tell them. Yeah, are you thinking of going?
Yeah, I'm thinking of taking your own book.
I think you could. I mean, I really don't think. I think we can let. I'm not sure who else would come specifically for the service. I think it's going to be a very, very small crowd.
Her ankles are swelling,
Oh.
and she's having a hard time standing.
So,
I really need to take her home.
yeah, I think you should definitely. You should do that, and we will make do with. We
Can you
can
cover
have.
for me?
What's that?
I said, you can cover for me?
We will cover for you.
I appreciate that.
Okay. How is this looking? How is this looking now?
It's looking great. I always look forward to helping to polish the silver and do this.
I know, and we haven't done it for the last 2 years, I think, right?
I know we haven't.
And I think it shows a little bit,
They look beautiful.
but here we go. There you go. Now you can take your picture with your eye. How is that?
That looks gorgeous.
Okay? There we go.
Then the feet.
What do you think, Grandma?
Grandma says, good job.
Okay.
Bravo.
Bevakasha. Good Yakta. I hope Nadine feels better.
Thank you.
Here, I'll help. Here, you take these. If you want to take one chair, I can start wheeling these down. That I can handle. I guess there's two. I don't really understand why sometimes they're on two end wheels
Yeah.
and sometimes they're on two sides.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
I think originally they had it, but I think
Some maybe fell out and then
Yeah.
they just,
that's what I think.
it's possible. Very strange.
There's like one or two tables that don't have break at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can live there, I'll take care of it.
course. I need commentary for Shakespeare. I don't. It's English, madam. He is sitting in the lounge.
Andrew, can you hear me? So when you say actually turn on the Zoom send, what are you referring to? I'm going to put it on for Susan, yeah. You can hear everything? Yeah, I'm turning on Susan's lab right now. So she will. Yeah. So hers will be on. Okay. Fantastic. Susan, this is ready to go? I will turn this off. Can you try it?
Okay, am I good? Oh,
Probably that. Oh, you're. You have to mute yours.
mute my Zoom? I am muted.
Ask him. Tell him.
Andrew, but I want to play music later.
Want to just try it real quick and see? You know that part where when they share? You have
It's in my PowerPoint, I can't.
Okay. Share
Okay.
video. Share.
Like the voice of God.
Well, hopefully I'll do it right. We'll see if it works. Okay.
And Andrew, if you don't hear it, maybe you'll just give some feedback. I turn you down a little bit, so it won't be quite so God-like sounding.
Although I like you as God.
Yes. But maybe Andrew, you should. He can't hear me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
you should probably just say, yeah. If you can't hear the music, just say, hey, we can't hear the music. Yes.
We ready? Okay. Hi, Rini. Well,
Gary's here too.
Shavua Tov, everyone. How are you doing? You made it home safely. That's good. Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm going to now share my screen. So, can everyone see the screen well enough? Yes. Okay. So, it's my pleasure to introduce all of you, and I'll stand here so you all can see me too, the people on Zoom, to introduce you to our theme for the year. Our lifelong learning theme this year in Hebrew and in transliteration, for those who need that, is Hu Haya Omer Im Enani Limili Uksha'ani La'atzmi Ma'ani Ve'im Lo Akshav Ematai. So for those of you who aren't fluent in Hebrew, especially from a time period that is not current modern Hebrew, the translation of that is, if I am not for myself, who will be for me? If I am only for myself, what am I? And if not now, when? We're going to spend, reverberation. We're going to spend tonight looking at this, and we're going to actually spend the entire year studying this. which is really exciting. We're going to be exploring it from so many different ways. But tonight we're going to explore it specifically in terms of what does it mean for us tonight and what does it mean for us at this specific time, with it being only a little bit before 8-9 days before Rosh Hashanah, right before the High Holy Days. So if I were to ask you, if I am not for myself, who will be for me? Whether you're on Zoom or whether you're here with us tonight in the sanctuary, what does that mean to you? What does it mean? Sherry.
You have to stand up for yourself and speak up for yourself, whether it's for your rights or for the rights of others that you see not being observed.
Okay, so you got to speak up for yourself. I'm just going with that first little part. So you got to speak up for yourself. What else does it mean? Audrey.
I think it means that you have self-worth.
You have self-worth. Fantastic. What else does it mean?
That you have to take care of yourself before you can take care of others.
You got to take care of yourself before you take care of others. That old famous line that we all know now so well from being on a plane, right? That you have to, the oxygen goes on yourself first before you take care of anyone who you're flying with, right? That you take care of your own oxygen before you put on the oxygen of anyone else that you're flying with, especially your own children or anyone else. Okay, anyone else? Anyone on Zoom have any answers to that? Okay. Well, here we have some other answers to it. Rav Kook, in Orot HaTeshuvah, said, when we forget the essence of our own soul, everything becomes confused and in doubt. Looks like I forgot an N. The primary teshuvah, that which immediately lights the darkness, is when a person returns to oneself, to the root of their soul. Then they will immediately return to God, to the soul of all souls. What do you think of that? When we forget the essence of our own soul. Yes, Joyce.
I think sometimes we are so wrapped up in taking care of others, whether it's family, extended family, work, colleagues, whatever, that we do push our own needs aside.
Yes.
So the essence of our being is often overshadowed by the people we take care of.
Yes. So for anyone who didn't hear that, Joyce was saying that when we get so wrapped up in taking care of others, we lose our own essence because we get so wrapped up in taking care of everyone else. I have a feeling that a couple people have been looking at me while that was being said. I don't know why. Yes, Cantor.
What the answers are, people on Zoom can't hear. You know, I think you are some of the time, but I think I'm just getting a comment.
Absolutely, that's why I was doing that. Okay, thank you. So we have this beautifulness that sometimes we lose ourselves, whether it's from taking care of someone else, whether it's sometimes we feel that we have to maybe change who we are a little bit to fit in with others. It depends. Sometimes we just get lost. We may not feel ourselves. I wonder how many of you, especially with all these months of being separated from one another, all these months of dealing with COVID, all these months of not being in control of everything because things keep changing and changing and changing and changing, sometimes feel like you're losing yourself a little bit in everything. Or with what's going on in the world, or what's going on in the government, or what's going on in our country. And you find yourself getting so upset that it's hard to recognize your own emotions anymore. Because you used to be this nice, calm, loving person. And you find yourself, you're getting too angry all the time. But all these different feelings that we feel. And where's the real me in all of that? Okay. So then we have this other one that says, people will do anything, no matter how absurd, in order to avoid facing their own soul. One does not become conscious by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Carl Jung. What are you thinking about that one? Can anyone relate to that? I'll tell you a story. My dad is a rabbi, as many of you know. And at this time of the year, my dad was famous for cleaning out things. He would do almost anything. He would clean out the garage every year at this time of the year to avoid writing his sermons. Sometimes that's much easier than doing what we need to be doing. So sometimes it's easier doing anything else, watching TV, reading a book, than having to face the hard work of teshuvah. It reminds me, this quote always reminds me of the Leonard Cohen songs. You know, the cracks let the light come in. And then we get to the second part. If I am only for myself, what am I? What does that teach us? What is that saying to us at this time? Don't read the quotes yet. I know it's easy to read it, but what is that saying to us? Yes, Audrey.
It's not all about you.
It's not all about you. First, we got to be about us, but then it's not just about us. Okay? It's not just about us. Sometimes we like to make it about us, but it's not just about us. What else? Cantor.
We need to take a step back and see what else is going on.
Right? We need to take that step back and see what else is going on. I love the fact that our congregation has this balcony, because sometimes it's really important to look from up there take that wider perspective. What else? Yes, Norm.
I think what's going on with the vaccine, without getting too political, that fits that to a T. Because if you say this is my life, it's my choice to do what I want with my body, that's one perspective on the vaccine. If you say, well, what I do affects other people, it's a different perspective.
So Norm was saying, without going too political, that with the vaccine, that some people say, it's my body, I get to choose. And other people say, I need to be concerned about other people, and so I'm going to take the vaccine to make sure that I take care of everyone. Thank you. Anyone else? So we have these two interesting quotes, because it's hard to read this part without reading the other part, and it's hard to read the other part without this part. So we have this really cool quote by Brene Brown. Would anyone like to read it? Or would you rather me read it, since I have it so close to me? Okay. True belonging is the spiritual practice of believing in and belonging to yourself so deeply that you can share your most authentic self with the world and find sacredness in both being a part of something and standing alone in the wilderness. True belonging doesn't require you to change who you are. It requires you to be who you are. Any thoughts about that? Sure.
First of all, I think it's beautifully stated, but
I love Brene Brown.
but I do think that in this world, so oftentimes we try and change other people or change ourselves so that we fit in with other people. And I think this is saying, be true to yourself, and hopefully other people will accept you for who you are.
Absolutely. Anyone else?
You can kind of
What?
summarize that.
Yes. How do I best summarize that? Say it again for me.
Well, the whole idea is that if you are true to yourself, hopefully people will accept you for whom you are, and we will not try and change others because we see the goodness in them as well.
So we need to be who we are, and hopefully people will accept us for who we are. And if we are who we are, we will also remember to accept others for who they are. And I will add, and we want to be in a place that accepts us for who we are. So I will share the following story, because it ties in, I think, beautifully. So my son and I were sitting actually up in the balcony for, I don't remember if it was the Hanukkah service or what service it was. Cantor, what service is it where you turned around and you were wearing sunglasses?
Could it have been Purim? Or maybe it was Hanukkah. There was one song. It was a new member consecration, and we were doing a Have a Little Grido, and I turned around and I did a jazzy version.
Yes. That was exactly it, yes. So it was at Hanukkah, and my son and I were sitting upstairs. And the cantor turned around and he was put on his sunglasses, and he was singing the jazz version of I Have a Little Dreidel. And my son leaned over to me, and it was our first year here at the congregation. And he said to me, "Mom, I'm really happy for you. They're all as crazy as you are." You got to find your people. The next quote says, "The deepest wisdom human can attain is to know that one's destiny is to aid, to serve." Abraham Joshua Heschel. What do we think of that one? It's a very different comment to the same quote. Yes, Norm?
Kind of what we hear every day at work, in our daily meetings. We start out with a quote from somebody, and then how does this apply to how you're carrying out your work and serving the patients? Because it's not always easy. And that's the basis of it, is think about their lives. You probably have it better than them. And what can you do to make their life better?
Beautiful. So Norm was sharing that at work, Norm's a pharmacist, and at work, they start every day with a meeting and with a quote, and how they need to think about something of how they need to put others first, and how they need to be serving others, and how they have how they need to how they have things better than their patients, how their life is going better than their patients at that moment, obviously, and this obviously fits right in line with all of that. Anyone else? What I love is that these two are so different, and they both tie in with if I'm only for myself, what am I? There's so much that is wrapped up in that one part. That being part of, it's all about being part of community. And that in the commentaries that I was reading today, that it talks about both the Jewish community and the larger community as well. And that the commentaries talk about serving God and serving the community, and it goes on all these different circles of caring. Yes, Audrey.
I keep coming back to that word destiny, and I would say that it's a form of wisdom to believe that you have a destiny, period, regardless of what that destiny may be, because it has something to do with a sense of purpose. And I know there's a book called Amusing Ourselves to Death, which is all about what we do to avoid having a sense of purpose, in a sense.
So Audrey was talking about that we all have a destiny, and she mentioned a book, Amusing Ourselves to Death. I have never heard of that book, and how we do things to avoid that destiny. That sounds very interesting. There is a wonderful quote that says that that the moment you come into the world is the moment that God has determined that the world could not live without you anymore. I forget who said that quote, though. Do you remember, Cantor or Rabbi? I will have to find out who said it. I know I will have to pull that one out. But it's one of my favorite quotes, and I'm forgetting who said it. It is a Jewish quote. It is a Jewish scholar, rabbi. I don't remember who. And then we have, and if not now, when? What does that mean to you? Because the rabbis play with it in many different ways. This is not what is usually done, though, with it. What does that mean to you? If not now, when? What's the first thing that comes to your mind? If not now, when? Sherry?
I think it goes back to the quote that don't put off till tomorrow what you can do today, you know, and so in looking at Tikkun Olam, it goes back to we can't solve the whole problem, but we certainly can solve some of it, and we shouldn't wait to start solving.
Okay, excellent. You hit so many of them all in one fell swoop there. So don't put off what you can do today. And Tikkun Olam, so the doing part. And let's see, what else did you hit there? There was more that you hit there, and my brain didn't get them all down, I think.
The idea that, again, there's basic world problems that need solving. So
World problem, and you need to do a part. You don't have to solve everything, but you have to do your part. Thank you. Okay, what else? Norm?
In some ways, I think that question is if we really believe in the Mashiach, when will the Mashiach come? And sometimes the answer is the Mashiach will come when the world is a world fit for the Mashiach. So we have to start doing it now so that it could happen.
Okay, so Norman was saying that when will the Mashiach come? When the world is fit for the Mashiach or the Messianic age, depending on your viewpoint, and that we need to start doing it so that will eventually happen. Okay, so the rabbis also say that not only is it about that we need to do it now in terms of getting started, they also say that if not now, when is about that we need to do it here, that it's all about here on earth, because it's all about this world and not whatever will happen in the future, in the afterworld, the later world, if there is one. So that's one answer to this. Another one that they say is that you should start it as young as possible, because we don't know if we'll be able to do it as we get older. Also, they say you should start it as young as possible because we all know that habits get formed, and therefore, if it becomes a habit when you're young, or any habit, that the sooner you get a habit of doing something, that you'll continue with it. I actually learned that habits, in one of the books that I recently was listening to, that habits get formed in 63 days of doing it continuously. You have to do something for 63 days before it becomes a habit. That there are different stages of it. At 20-some days there's something, at 30 days there's something, at the first week there's something, but at 63 days you have finally made it a habit. But there's those different things. Okay, so I found this lovely quote that I liked with it, which says, "Why are we forbidden to make images of God? It is not because God is beyond all images, so that no image could possibly depict God. If that were the case, images would merely be harmless. God has an image, and that is you. You may not make the image of God because you are the image of God. The only medium in which you can make God's image is the medium of your entire life. And that is precisely what we are commanded to do. Everything you do, everything you say, every moment, and the way you use it are all part of the way you build God's image. Reactions to that? Joyce.
I was thinking of the word kavanah.
Excellent.
Actually, even before we read the quote from Rabbi Heschel. And whatever we do in any part of our lives, it has to be with a direction in mind, with intent, with a goal, a purpose. And I don't know about a timeline, that's hard to establish, but if not now, when? We have to do it with the intent that we will hopefully complete what we start.
Beautiful. So Joyce was talking about kavanah with our intention, and that everything should be done with intention. So that's that, if not now, when, that all things should be done with intention. Beautiful. I love that. Thank you. Yes, Sherry.
I think it also points out that, you know, I have talked about not just thinking of yourself, but thinking of other people and how you can help other people or what their needs are. But this goes beyond that, saying we also need to put our best self forward because we are made in God's image, and we want to try and fulfill that piece of our action as well.
So because we're in God's image, we need to fulfill that part, and the unique part that is ours daily. Our best selves of it. And that's a hard thing to do, to live up to that. So, big question. Now, what does that have to do with the high holidays and this time of the year? Or this time right before the high holidays? Sherry.
Well, for one thing, and if not now, when, certainly speaks to it because we need to start asking teshuvah. We need to start that process now and not wait until Yom Kippur. But it goes well beyond that.
So it has to do with teshuvah, of asking forgiveness, and it goes way beyond that. And it goes with both asking of others and of ourselves. And if anyone else is like me, it needs to be a little bit being gentle of ourselves and probably of others. I know that I can be hard on myself, and part of this teaches me that I need to be gentle. So here's a big question for you. Looking at this again, if I am not for myself, who will be for me? If I'm only for myself, what am I? And if not now, when? Which of these three lines is calling out to you? You're going to answer this to yourself. Think about which of those three lines is calling out to you. Pick one. Whichever line is calling out to you, rate yourself 1 to 10. 1 being, I'm not doing well at all on that line. 10 being, I am fantastic. I am perfect on that. Everyone got whatever number you are? Now, if you are not a 10, think to yourself, what would a 10 look like? What would a 10 feel like? What would it feel like if you were a 10 in that? And what is one step you could do to move up just one number between now and Yom Kippur? Now, Debbie Friedman, Zichrono Livracha, created a beautiful Imena Nili. There are many versions of the song that have been put to music, and this year we will have a beautiful playlist on Spotify. She does not have her song on Spotify. There's some of her music on Spotify, but this song is not. So hopefully, if I do this right, we will get to hear her song. The lyrics are on here as well, but we will hopefully get to hear it now. Yes, no, maybe? Oh, we heard the end. Didn't it? Let's try to do that again. Okay, anytime you want to try that again. Come on. Yes, no? Okay. Volume's good. We heard it for a second. Where is it? There? There we go. Takes a village. May you be able to take care of yourself. May you be inspired to take care of others. May you be able to forgive yourself. May you be able to forgive others. May you be able to be there for yourself. May you be able to be there for others. May you be able to be your authentic self so that you can best serve God and best help the community and enjoy life and celebrate all that life has to give and all that you can give to others. And may it be a sweet and healthy and joyous 5782. Can you hear that song? Thank you, everyone.
So we will pick up again in 15 minutes with our service at 10 o'clock.
You want to say that also, Susan, so that because people on Zoom won't hear it.
I'm off of it.
Huh?
I'm out of Zoom.
No, but I think you still can.
Okay. Oh, yes. So we will be picking up at 10 o'clock for tefillah, for Selihot services. But no, yes. Okay.
Those of you here will have more to drink and eat in the meantime. We will
That's right.
Thank you. Thank you. Need a little help on this.
Any idea how many people we have in the other
Shavua Tov.
We begin our service on page 106, and for those of you joining us on the other platforms, you'll find it on the screen in front of you.
Hashiven. No, yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
We'll try to get 106 are on the screen in front of you. And so we come to this hour of Selihot under the canopy of night to celebrate goodness, to proclaim what is right and true, to praise, to thank, to bless the great giver who gives and renews our lives. We turn to loved ones, to friends, and to our people everywhere, the whole house of Israel. And our hearts turn toward the human family. We pray for its healing. Yet hardest of all is the inward gaze, the return to ourself, the honest reckoning of the soul of Cheshbon HaNefesh. We ask, how to account for selfish acts, lies, and senseless anger? How to account for the shadows, the storms, the bitterness in our lives, the damage and distress we cause? How to own up to it all and find our way back with integrity and peace? We ask, have we the will to change? And if not now, when?
Haish hechafetz chayim ohev yamim liroto nitzol leshon chamera usfatecha midaber mirma צור מרב עשה טוב, בקש שלום ורודפהו. מי האיש החפץ חיים, אוהב ימים לראות טוב. ניצול לשון חמרה ושפתיך מדבר מרמה, צור מרב עשה טוב, בקש שלום ורודפהו. פרחו לי שערי צדק, אבובה מודיה, פתחו לי שערי צדק, אבובה מודיה. זה השער לאדוני, צדיקים יבואו בו. זה השער לאדוני, צדיקים יבואו בו.
Open for me the gates of righteousness. As I enter them, I will praise God's name. This is the gateway to the eternal. Here the righteous shall enter. We take a few moments for silent meditation. We are on page 110. Also can find it on the screen before us. Cantor will be singing a nigun as we take a few moments to do our own Cheshbon HaNefesh. Not enough for all that we've done this past year. But in these days now leading to Rosh Hashanah, these last days of Elul, let us look inside ourselves as we examine our deeds and our direction from now until Yom Kippur.
Ya la la, 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 ya la, ya la 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 la. Hashivenu, Adonai elecha, Venashuva, Chadesh, Chadesh, Yamenu Kekedesh. Shomer, Shomer Yisrael, Shemor Sherid Yisrael. Shomer, Shomer Yisrael, Shemor Sherid Yisrael. Ve'al Yovad, Ve'al Yovad Yisrael, Ve'al Yovad, Ve'al Yovad Yisrael, Haomrim, Haomrim, Haomrim Shema Yisrael. Shomer, Shomer Goy Echad, Shemor Sheritam Bechad. Shomer, Shomer Goy Echad, Shemor Sheritam Bechad. Ve'al Yovad, Ve'al Yovad Goy Echad, Ve'al Yovad, Ve'al Yovad Goy Echad, Ham Yachadim. Shimecha, Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad, Ham Yachadim. Shimecha, Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
A ship cannot make its way through the seas without a compass, and we cannot make our way through life without being asked at the turn of each and every year, Ayeka, where are you? That question and our answer create the moral agenda for our work in the year ahead. If I do not focus on the purpose, what is the point of my life? Master of wonders, mother of souls, forgive the darkness in our hearts, our loss of hope. Pardon our distraction, our ears closed to the pleas of the poor. Lead us to atonement. Master of wonders, mother of souls, forgive us our circles of secrecy, knots of guilt, shame, and anger, webs of betrayal and greed. Pardon the pursuit of happiness that ends in worship of self, and lead us to atonement. Master of wonders, Mother of souls, refuse to forgive our refusal to forgive. Release our grudges, hatreds, and feuds. Punction our stubborn self-righteousness and lead us to atonement. Master of wonders, mother of souls, forgive our vanity in a universe of awe, our complacency in a universe of need. Pardon our failure to thank, praise, and salute every soul and every star, and lead us to atonement. Master of wonders, mother of souls, forgive our disregard and insolence, our distance from loved ones and friends. Pardon our daily inattentiveness, our failure to notice that we fail to notice, and lead us to atonement.
Recham Adonai al Yereah, ki chigva shamayim al haaretz, davar chasdo al Yereah, yirachem al banim. Recham Adonai al Yereah, ki chigva shamayim al haaretz, gavar chasdo al Yereah.
Forgive me, my God, for I have spilled my life like unclean water upon the earth. Forgive me for all my wounds I caused with my own hands. And yet, sobbing like a beaten child, I cried out to you that you, my God, might bandage them.
Ki anu amecha ve'ata Eloheinu, anu vanecha ve'ata avinu, anu avadecha ve'ata Adonenu, anu kehalecha ve'ata chelkenu, anu nachalatecha ve'ata goralenu, Anu tzonecha ve'ata ro'enu, anu charmecha ve'ata notrenu, anu ve'olatecha ve'ata yotzrenu, anu rayatecha ve'ata dodenu, anu segulatecha ve'ata kirovenu, Anu amecha ve'ata malkenu, anu mamirecha ve'ata mamirenu.
On page 119. Notice the river at the break of dawn, a braid of streams, creeks, and brooks, a dance of insects near the shore. Notice how brackish where the river meets the sea, how with grace the river hugs the shore, fierce in its rising, fiercer when it falls. Notice it all, how it bends, how it tells the time of year, and how smooth the boulders are that guide its course. Notice the Holy One in blessing and in beauty, in acts of repair, in the unearthing of truth, in eyes that meet, in the tumult of change, in words of forgiveness, in the bridges we build to those we hurt, in the flow of a year, in the course of a journey, in rising and falling, in the bend of a river, in the hand we hold out to those who hurt us, in the life we are living, in blessing and in beauty. As we continue on page 120, and 24. Pardon me, the bottom of 125. There are those who struggle for a day and they are good. There are those who struggle for a year and they are better. There are those who struggle for a lifetime. They are the indispensable ones. As I continue on the top of 27, and then we'll go back to 126. As the days of awe near, we reach for the infinite. Mindful of our frailty, we seek the holy. Despite our mortality, we carry within us the Ancient of Days. Despite loneliness within, we sense that we belong to a single soul, a spirit that fills the entire universe. Let us find in that universal spirit a new source of strength and significance, more compassion, more generosity, more gratitude for life. Let our hearts be open to self-reckoning, and may we grasp how vital to our lives is tshuva, the path of return. On this night of forgiveness, we confess our wrongs and take account of sins, failures of judgment, weakness of will. The hour is late, our need to be forgiven profound.
Adon ha-slichot bochen levavot golei amukot dover tzedakot chatanu lefanecha rachem aleinu chatanu lefanecha rachem aleinu Ador beniflaot vatik benechamot zocher berit avot choker kelayot chatanu lefanecha rachem aleinu chatanu lefanecha rachem aleinu tov umetiv labriot yodea kol nistarot kovesh avonot lovesh tzedakot chatanu lefanecha rachem aleinu chatanu lefanecha rachem aleinu.
Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, our God and God of all generations, may our prayers reach your presence. And when we turn to you, do not be indifferent. Eternal One, we are arrogant and stubborn, claiming to be blameless and free of sin. In truth, we have stumbled and strayed. We have done wrong. Together we confess. Together we take responsibility.
Hashamnu, Pagadnu, Gazalnu, Dibarnu Dofi, ay, 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 חמסנו, תפלנו שקר, איי, 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 יעצנו רע, כיזבנו, לעצנו, מרדנו, ניאצנו, שררנו, אבינו, פשענו, שררנו, קישינו עורף, איי, 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 רש"י, רשענו, שיחתנו, תיעבנו, טעינו, תתנו.
We continue on page 130 or before you.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך באונס וברצון, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בזדון ובשגגה.
For all these sins, our God, we ask forgiveness. The ways we have wronged you under duress and by choice, the harm we have caused in your world deliberately and by mistake.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בגלוי ובסתר, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך ביודעים ולא יודעים.
The ways we have wronged you openly and secretly, the harm we have caused in your world consciously and unconsciously.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בשנאת חינם, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך ברכילות.
The ways we have wronged you by hating without cause, the harm we have caused in your world through gossip and rumor.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בצרות עין, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך באימוץ הלב.
The ways we have wronged you through a selfish or petty spirit, the harm we have caused in your world by hardening our hearts. For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement.
ועל כולם מלוא סליחות, סלח לנו מחלנו, כפר לנו. ועל כולם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו מחלנו, סלח לנו מחלנו, כפר לנו.
We continue on page 134. I apologize. We continue on page 132. Min hamakom shebo anu tzodkim lo yimtzachu leolam prachim ba'aviv. From the place where we are right, flowers will never grow in the spring. The place where we are right is hard and trampled like a yard, but doubts and loves dig up the world like a mole, a plow, and whisper will be heard in the place where the ruined house once stood.
Shema kolenu Adonai Eloheinu chus v'rachem aleinu Shema kolenu Adonai Eloheinu chus v'rachem aleinu וקבל ברחמים וברצון את תפילתנו. כי השומע תפילה ותחנוני. אתה שמע קולנו, אדוני אלוהינו, חוס ורחם עלינו. שמע קולנו, אדוני אלוהינו, חוס ורחם עלינו.
We turn now to page 136. Return now, Israel, to the one who forgives, for you have fallen because of your sin. Return as the shrill sound of the shofar that rises from the spiral of the ram's horn toward heaven. Take words with you and return to the eternal. I will be to Israel like dew, they shall blossom like the lily. Return as the leaves in spring, renewed and beautiful. Stretch out your arms to God and return, like a child to her mother, to love and peace.
Adonai, Adonai, Erachum v'chanun, Erech Chapayim, v'rav chesed v'yemet, Notzer chesed להלהפים, נושא עוון ופשע וחטא ונקה.
Walk with me into the woods. Leave the edge of the forest behind. Come deep into the green until the shafts of sunlight are lost. Feel the stillness of the center. Walk with me to the top of the hill. Leave the broad path behind. Up beyond where the trees grow. Hear the quiet of the heights. Walk me into this new year, into its demands, into its joys, into the clamor of its unfolding. Walk alone, each of us on our own right path, with the echoes of the blast of the shofar, with the stillness of the center, with the help of our God, as we rise. Page 140. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, we come before you without pretense. Avinu Malkeinu, we are reaching towards you. Help us to find you. Avinu Malkeinu, strengthen us for the holy days that lie ahead. Avinu Malkeinu, be with us as we strive to heal ourselves and become whole. Avinu Malkeinu, help us to repair a broken world. Avinu Malkeinu, hasten for us the days of redemption. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace, for our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu Vanenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu Vanenu, Ki en banu masim. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed ve'oshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu vanenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu vanenu, Ki en banu masim. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed ve'hoshienu. Tekiah gedolah.
And to all of you, wherever you may be physically, may you find your way over these next days back to each other and back to God. Shavua Tov, Shana Tova.
Shavua Tov, Shana Tova.